I guess we'll stay. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We'll wait a little bit for everybody to start coming in here, but I have a quick stream tonight. Um, it's just before 10. Not too much news to talk about in sports world, just considering that, the Cavs Knicks, again, it's like, hello. Can't make those jokes. Just you can't because it's in the past and we already know they're not playing. Tonight would have been game 6. Yes, 6. It feels like a week. It feels like it's been a week since the Knicks won, but realistically, it was like what 4 days ago. So we have that, but what else were we going to talk about? We're going to talk about the Eastern Conference Championship, where the mighty Carolina Hurricanes advanced. Hasn't happened in 20 years, but they are back. Last time they went was in 2006, and I'll just kind of give my thoughts and address to that as well, because I feel like we've been watching Carolina for a good long while, and I might feel the same way I do about the Canes as I do in the inevitability of if we ever see the Rangers go, Dallas, Pittsburgh, Washington again with Ovi. Because, hey, spoiler alert, which I was going to video later about it. I think he's going to be back. I don't think Ovi's retired. I think he's going to enjoy his break. Wait till the finals over, and then probably reload and do it one more time. Because, again, there's still guys playing in the European leagues or the Russian leagues or Canadian leagues where, they're well into their 50s and they're just balling. In the men's leagues there and in the professional leagues there as well. But anyways, guys, thank y'all for being here. As I see you guys start to trickle in, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the stream or enjoy sports content as a whole. But yeah, let's get into it. I know it's a little bit of an earlier stream because I wanted to jump on it right away, right after the game tonight, because oh my gosh, Carolina Hurricanes, they just won. And so, yeah, we'll get going into it. We'll talk a little bit about baseball, and we'll also talk a little bit about the world of NFL and the hornet's nest that Jackson Dart has gotten himself into. But be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy sports content. This is GVS, where I try to cover all things sports. Been wanting to make a video on Mandalorian and Grogu. Also wanted to make a video on the Backrooms. So we might be watching those movies later. But again, if you guys enjoy the stream, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Let's get into it. Something that I wanted to talk about is I made a video, again, like maybe 3 hours ago. But it was about 30 minutes before puck drop, where I was, hey, here are the things. This is what Montreal can do to win this game tonight and advance and keep the series going. I was then 47 times. Belt to ass. That's all I can. BTA. The Canes came out and they had something to prove in closeout games. I believe Ron Bridmore is now 8-4, 8 because I think it was 7-3, and now it's 8-3 in closeout games, game clinching. Because wow, yeah, they swept the first round, swept the second round, and then capitalized on the elimination game. So just in this postseason alone, 3-0, not letting this series go longer than it needs to. Because again, in the Seth, as we've been talking about Montreal this whole time, Montreal has continued to experience. Montreal in every single series up until this point was up or down 3-2 in a series, and they just game 6 would happen, they'd lose, and I was like, well, I guess we got to go play 7, and which is very interesting. The other thing too that ended up not benefiting the Habs was their playoff road run. Their road was very good. They were very good on the road until the Hurricanes series, and it's very, yes, sad, but like interesting to see that I feel like I watched two, kind of like two Avalanche teams. I feel like I also watched two Montreal Canadiens teams too, where this this game was not close at all. And unfortunately, there was a point in game two where, I mean, freaking nothing, 5-0. Okay, so there's that, and also not only with it being 5-0, there's the point that I wanted to make too as well. You can make it with the Cavs because the Cavs got swept, but like who we saw in game one was not who showed up in two or game three or game four. Like it just super interesting to see because not gonna lie, I was clutch pearls after game one of like, oh my gosh, they beat them 6-2. We could have Carolina could have their hands full, for lack of a better term, because it's like, oh my gosh, like that history stat of Carolina not playing well in the Eastern Conference Finals. It's rearing its ugly head right now after game one, but it didn't matter because after that gentleman's sweep, which it's still a gentleman's sweep because it was 5 games, but weirdly enough, this feels like a sweep. It feels like we witnessed to recent history. This has to be probably not the most boring, but I mean, we haven't seen Eastern Conference Finals not since the Rangers Panthers series go games. Like the conference series, the conference round, very subpar this year. Like it not really entertaining. Um Competition wise, there's parts of me that already look at it from the other point of view. Kind of like how I was talking about Boston in the NBA, where it's like, could Buffalo and Carolina more of a shot competition wise? Because there's many that look at it like that. But you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. To each their own. Like, but yeah, then the first goal. Here's the thing: we would be having a completely separate, different conversation if after that first goal, let's say the game was 1 or 3-2, where that first goal was the ultimate deciding factor in the Habs winning or losing. I don't think that first goal had any. Nope, nope, not at all. I think it was goalie interference? Yes. Do I think the refs missed all? Yes. But then in the same, here's the other thing that I'll disagree with too. I don't think Carolina should have gone on the power play right after. I'll throw that out there. But also, you have to look because you were watching it in real time. Just the onslaughts of goals. And there's parts of me that think that Vegas will be able to settle that, where Carolina's going to score a quick one, but Vegas is going to have answers, and Carolina is not going to be bam bam against Vegas. It will be you score once, one time, or you score one and then you wait 3-4 minutes, maybe a couple shifts, 10 minutes, and then you score again. This whole avalanche onslaughts of goals where they come in pairs or triples, I don't think Vegas is going to allow Carolina to do that. But again, I would love to watch some highlights, watch this series again from a retrospective. Let's watch the whole thing as a whole, because there's parts of me that think, you know what, I don't think Carolina will let Vegas either, because again, I gotta rewatch that Colorado series. And did Vegas take advantage, and did Vegas score in pairs in game three when they came back from the deficit, or in game two? Because I'll admit I did not watch game two. And then game one, again, the only point that I remember from game one was goaltending. And I believe it was 3-1 at one point, and then the Avalanche pulled their goalie, and then 3-2. They ended up losing 3-2 in game one. I can't remember. Or they lost like 2. Off the top of my head, I don't remember. But anyways, it is what it is. Hurricanes move on. Hurricanes advance to the Stanley Cup final, which I think is really cool. I did a little trip down memory lane, looking at some old videos on my channel, but also just kind of looking at the history. Like, Carolina's been beating this drum for a while, and where Carolina is now, I feel like, was where Colorado was, and Minnesota and Dallas in the bubble in 2020, where Carolina 10 years ago when Capitals won their cups, LA Blackhawks were reigning supreme, the Penguins were going back to back. Carolina was not a good team at that time. They just weren't. Um, Neither was Colorado, and neither was Florida. That's another thing too. So it's been very interesting to see kind of the dynamic as we shift, where it's like teams that would feel like we're on the hump that could just barely, they've almost gotten over the hump. Like, yeah, the Islanders are surprising the Bruins, and the one, like, here come the Islanders. And so the Islanders made it a trip. Like, they went to the Eastern Conference Finals 2 years in a row, but then they haven't done anything since. We Carolina Hurricanes be this close year in and year out, where who do they eventually run into? Um, in the East, the eventual champs. They ran into the Panthers twice, and then they ran into the President Cup trophy winner, New York Rangers. I have been on record in saying that New York Rangers team, if they played anybody else in the Eastern Conference Finals, they'd be Stanley Cup champs right now. It would have been the Rangers against the Oilers. The Oilers would not have been able to do anything. That Rangers team loaded, but the Panthers were kind of a team of destiny that year, trying to get back to the cup, avenge their loss as huge underdogs, but kind of a playoff enjoyment too, considering what they did in the 23 season. But just we've been watching the Canes year in and year out, just run into the best team every single year in and year out, and have disappointing playoff exit after playoff exit after playoff. And I looked at offensive firepower being the reason why, where it's like they need guys who are willing to get grimy and go get those low goals, in the crease, battle against goalies, battle against the demons, score on the power play. Like when it's desperation time where we are down 2-0, 2-1, and we need to throw stuff on net. There were times in those postseasons where their defense collapsed, or they just couldn't get anything because they didn't have an Artemi Panarin or a Matthew Tkachuk or a Bennett or, like a Reinhart or a Verhage, where they're a Mitch Marner, where we have seen in playoffs past, where these big names, and all the glitz and glamour, just come up so clutch and become playoff heroes. And we haven't seen that for Carolina. Now this year, very different. Very different. You can throw Hall into that equation. You can throw Schmidt, Stankoven in that. There's a handful of others, but just for years past, every single team that the Hurricanes have tried to play, just it's well, you lost to the Stanley Cup champ. So hang your head, but don't hang your head too much. So it's real cool to see that they have finally gotten over that hump. Now, what would be super sad is if they just go get boasted by Vegas, because when you want to compare and go experience for experience, band for band, Vegas, whoa, you got to look at Vegas, because Vegas has been there. Vegas was there 3 years ago, and other guys that were on that 23 Cup win are still there. I think there's only two. I think Carlson and Smith are the only ones that are still from that 18 year, because Stoner was with the Senators. Marner was like a rookie with the Leafs. I think Hart and Hill and a whole bunch of other guys were either playing college ball or just on different teams. I don't know, but so if you want to look at playoff experience in that light, Vegas is taking this 1-4. Well, no, I'd say 5, but they're making it quick, and especially with the fact that this was able to sweep Colorado. That's something to look at, because Colorado was no slouch this year, not at all. You win the President's Trophy, you're a good team. The Jets last year, the Rangers the year before. So it's kind of, I liked what McKinnon did around, where it's kind of a privilege and an honor to have that pressure. But anyways, guys, I see we got a lot in here. But yeah, if you guys are enjoying the stream so far, ramble and talk hockey, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And speaking of President Trophy and, the President Trophy curse, we'll that segue into our next topic because I was talking a little bit about Hornets Nest and kicking Hornets Nest, and whoops, you're a camel and you stuck your head in the tent. Whoops. The Jackson Dart situation has gotten very loud, very quick. And it's one of those things where if I want to give my full honest opinions, I won't say here. Probably more than likely go to a different platform. Probably if you know what I'm talking about there. But I find it very weird that there are people that are jumping in huge defense of Jackson Dart. There are. And the funniest comparison, because there are people that are jumping defense of Abdul Carter and attacking Jackson Dart, and then there are people that are just jumping in defense of Jackson Dart. Which I like his final ultimate statement, which was, "I love my country, I love America." What is very funny, and this is the only thing I'll say on this, and maybe I'll make another video for hashtag Rumble rant, but I think it's funny that what Dart did was on his own, not wearing any Giants apparel. He just did it on time, not on company time. But then what Jameis Winston, Abdul Carter, them feeling the need to, we gotta have a meeting, that's on company time and under the banner of the New York Giants. And it's like, so you're using the Giants platform to talk about this versus Dart, who just didn't use the Giants platform, he just used himself. But because of how much of a mixed bag it is and the Hornets Nest that he kicked, he then needed to, walk it back and be, well, okay. And, again, we're in OTAs. We're in OTAs. We shouldn't be talking politics or worrying about the world outside of football. What should be important right now is football, what's super funny in all of this too, not once has anybody mentioned Scaboo, which that might just be me. Anyways, all right, guys. So that's my thoughts on that. Just a quick one. I don't hate any of the players at all. I just find it very, it's just kind of interesting. But like at the end of the day too, it's like with just, this is why I would stay away from politics, but like you gotta understand too, it's like if someone asks you to do something, yeah, go, but it is what it is. It is what it is. And funny enough, this is just a side tangent too. This is just a side tangent. Is he might be there in Madison Square Garden for Game 3, and so it's like, he's from New York, as we all know. Okay, he's from New York, big New York guy, big Knicks fan, big Yankees fan. Okay, so obviously he's probably a pretty big Giants fan too. So it's like, yeah, if he wants the starting quarterback for the Giants to introduce him, he's a New York guy. Of course he's going to ask. But then again, everybody's like, whoa, room temperature went up just a little bit. So anyways, what's up? So, yeah, I only wanted to mention it once the day that it happened, but because it's just blown out of proportion where everybody and their dog has an opinion, and we're 3 days later, and we're still talking about it. That's where it became an issue, because it's now showed up, if it was just a simple, oh, whatever, okay, and then you move on, because 3 days later, 4 days later, 5 days later, because it's still Friday. If anything else is going to be said on Saturday or Sunday, then on Monday, whether it's Talking Head, they'll be talking about it, CBS, Fox, whatever, and it's little little story that was, just kind of a write off, whatever, has now turned into a 5 day, 7 day long story where it's like, whoa, we look at that. Sports media blew something out of proportion that they didn't need to. Kind of like Ty Simpson getting drafted by the Rams. Like everybody thought that was a huge, oh, there's going to be a rift in LA. The Rams, McKay, the owner, Stafford, they're going to be at each other. And then it's like, oh, well, you look at that. Stafford was actually pretty welcoming to Simpson and also very stern. And, well, guess what? This is still my team. To each their own. So that, there's no, to each their own. There's no segue from the thing and then going to college baseball because right now we are in double elimination round. We're not in Omaha yet, but the college bracket baseball is going on. And the big story, big headline that everybody's talking about is that St. Mary's upset the number 1 seed UCLA. Again, I have no knowledge on college baseball. Don't know who the best is. The only regular season college baseball game that I've caught was when the Sun Devils played the Wildcats, like 3 weeks ago, something like that. But again, I'll look at an updated bracket or something. I would just, truthfully, if I were to make a prediction, I'd just chalk it all the way. As you guys know, I've all my address to, I'm still looking at the paper from earlier, the Commissioner's State of Sports address. And going back to that, I'm I know this is a little controversial to say, as much as I was talking about competitiveness in each league and expansion, where it's like, I don't think the NFL should expand. I don't think the WNBA should expand. I don't think NHL or baseball or basketball. If basketball is going to expand, guess where you should expand? Don't go to Vegas. Go to the teams that already exist that you let. Seattle, that is it. And then maybe who else? And then if we're going to do the NHL, come back to Arizona and give the Coyotes back because that was super lame. And then give a team back to Quebec and then give a team to give a baseball team to Montreal. Have the Expos come back. Don't do this thing where it's like, well, we need a baseball team in Mexico City. Huh? Or we need a basketball team in Vegas. No, we don't. No, we don't. Like, give team back that it got, because I've been hitting that drum of the NFL should expand to, the NFL should have a team in Idaho and Utah, and it's no, it's never happened. But I just, with the expansion competitiveness, the other thing too with sports and how sports can improve. Again, this is if I was the commissioner, of the NFL, this whole Jackson Dart situation would not have happened. Because you know what I would have done? I would have done exactly what they did to Wanyama. The second Wembanyama started to talk about concussion protocol, and I would have muted the mic and been like, okay, got that segment out. We don't need to see it. Because it's like, again, like what you do on your own time, because like many athletes, musicians, actors, actresses, I mean, like, hell, you watch Knicks game, look at all the celebrities on Celebrity Row. It's like, who gives a damn? Who gives a damn who they endorse or anything? But it's like, all of a sudden you got, one, and then it's like, well, here we go. And so I would take the politics out of sports. That's just me. I know that's a pretty controversial thing, but I think at the end of the day, sports brings people together more than anything else. But then when you implement things that would divide sports, you have a divided locker room. Because again, and mark my words, and I'll finish with this thought: if the Giants start to lose games or there's inner turmoil and stuff, because it's funny with like and people talking about, oh, people aren't getting along in Philly. AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts, they're bumping heads and they're not getting along. And There's a lot of turmoil in the Patriots locker room as well with all that's going. Here's the thing, like that's the football side of things for where there would be turmoil in the locker room. It's like the second, and I already know there are social media pundits out there that do this. The second the Giants start to lose games, they're going to blame Jackson Dart, and they're going to blame it because of this. And they'll be like, well, because they don't get along politically. This is why the Giants are failing. They're failing. They're rotting from the inside. And it's like, what the hell kind of story is that? The Giants are sucking because they've sucked for the last handful of years, and only now are they starting to turn up on the rebuild. But I might sound crazy saying that. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna leave it there. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.